Welcome everyone to our Tech Talk number 6. Today we're going to be talking to Dirk Eisner, Senior Product Specialist for over the last 12 years at MST, and he has helped shape the application and integration of our products into mines. In addition to that, Dirk has also had 40 years experience in the global underground mines, and most recently he's been working with the GMG group to be helping craft their IT infrastructure standards and tracking standards as well. So thank you very much for joining us today, Dirk.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
Great. So talk to us a little bit about tracking and automation underground and what this means to the mining operation.
So I think that tracking over the last 10 years really has become a pretty much a default product for many mines, and has been really widely accepted initially mainly as a safety tool. But then as the years went on and people used these technologies and they started drilling into it, they realized that it's a lot more than just tracking, right? So they can do a lot of other things with it. They can drive their automation with it, and they really get a grip on what their organization does at any point in time. They can step backwards and they can see what history-wise happened in their tracking. So in the past, we made a lot of decisions ad hoc, but they were poorly really understood. And now we understand this process much better. So like say track movements, how often do they went back and forwards, what do they do in interval time, and today they can make decisions which are really solid, thought of beyond data. So they understand the data, and because they understand the data, they can really do something with it.
That's
not
great.
Good.
So tell me a little bit about how should a mine go about deciding what they should be looking for from a tracking and automation solution standpoint.
So the biggest issue you have is that you basically have very confined spaces in which we operate, and it makes it very difficult to just hang any technology on the wall and work with it. So a lot of early adopters went in there and just used off-the-shelf technologies, tried to use it, and it failed. So to have equipment which is paramount, it's paramount really to have equipment in these environments which are fit for purpose and really made for that environment. You can't just grab something, what is intended for an office and hang that in the underground and believe that this will work.
And not work for a long time, right? So it might work immediately, but then you might be ripping it out after a few years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other things. It's not just the tracking system itself, but it's the further aspect of it and what you do and how you represent the data you gain there. And it's important that this stuff really for that environment is fit for purpose. So you may have tunnel environments in general are very, very hard to get good tracking in, and by using specialized equipment you can be reassured that it actually will work even in that environment.
And so how are mines using this type of application and technology today, in your opinion? And what are some of the results that you've seen firsthand?
Yeah, so if the mine has implemented like a solid tracking system, and they then understand that process and understand the things, they're making decisions with a really great degree of confidence. They really have a grip on what's happening there, and that translates obviously in a much safer and much more productive environment. And the way I see it is like, or I hear it all the time from companies where we implemented these systems. There's one comment which is quite often heard, and that is, man, got no idea how we ever done this before, right? And that to me is the best praise you can get as a company, because if they start really getting cranky if the system is not available, it's something they really need on a day-to-day basis. And they're relying so heavily now on the reporting systems. They get out of it. So in the morning they got which vehicles are available, where they're parked up, what they're doing with them, is anything in service, something sitting in the service bay. They instantly have a complete 360-degree view of all their equipment and where it is.
That's a really good point. And when we're starting to look specifically at the underground, I know that on the surface, tracking has been, tracking technologies have been widely adopted for the last, 10, 15 years or so. But why do you think, that underground mines aren't adopting that type of efficiency across the board and at as fast a rate as the surface?
Yeah, I think that it is just a lot harder to do anything in an underground mine. A lot of people always say, "Oh, underground service, not much of a difference," but the reality is, it is. It's a very, very big difference, and you do need to have equipment which is easily installed, easily maintained. On the surface, if you put something up, there's not a big chance that a truck comes by and damages it. But underground, it's a very, very big chance that it's happening. The other thing is that people have initially implemented these systems for safety reasons because they've been legislated to do so, and only now they really get a grip on what they can do with it. So now they're trying to put this puzzle together, how all of these things work, and this is where MST sort of comes in, and we have a rock solid understanding of what mines want. We transfer a lot of that knowledge from mine to mine, so you're not starting from scratch. One thing which is very important is you've got to get your stakeholders in your organization together and talk to the various stakeholders in the organization, because they're all got different needs, and you may be surprised is what they want to use these devices for. We have often seen situations where the customer comes to us and says, "We have this specific problem, and we think that you can solve this with your system." And 9 times out of 10, we can, and we can actually do it quite simple. And we not necessarily see all the time what for this specific organization it can make of a difference. But we have seen like sort of situations where they may come and they say, "Oh, we have issues with tire wear on our trucks." And they're saying, "Well, we maintain these roads, but suddenly we get big potholes and things like that, and they're not necessarily reported by the drivers." And we can, with our tracking systems and the telemetry which hangs off it, we can easily identify these spots, and then you can get quickly someone there to do it. And the cost saving can be just absolutely enormous, just on a simple thing like that. If you not only you save on tires, but you save on machines sitting in the repair bay, getting fixed, getting new tires fitted, and so on. So it makes a huge difference. And I think in the future, we're thinking a little bit further. I think that mines which are now adopt this technology in its deeper sense, not just from the tracking, but also from the telemetry which comes with it, I think they will really have an edge over all the mines out there which don't go that further step. But because everyone at the mine does a job, they're sort of involved in their day-to-day running, and it often, makes it difficult for us to go, "Well, hang on, let's stop everything here and let's think about this." And you don't have to stop everything. Get someone like Mindsight in, have a chat to these guys, get your stakeholders together, have a conversation, open that conversation up, and you may be surprised what you actually discover.
Yeah, definitely. That's all really good points. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today, Dirk, and I'm sure everyone got a lot of value out of that tracking and automation chat. Thank you.
Thank you.